Well, you've begun the work of rebuilding a critical part of your spiritual life that God has called you to, but that doesn't mean it's going to be all smooth sailing. There will be discouragements and opposition along the way, and Mark Jobe helps us get ready for it with some bold steps.
Whatever God has put on your heart to do to rebuild, there will be opposition to it, and you need to have a mindset to work and not be distracted by critics that may come your way. Amen?
Welcome to Bold Steps with Mark Jobe, president of Moody Bible Institute and senior pastor of New Life Community Church in Chicago. Today we've reached Nehemiah chapter 4 in our continuing series, Rebuild, Your Life, Your City, Your World. And Mark is here in the studio with me. You probably know this principle better than anyone as a pastor and church planter, Mark. Acting on any great call of God, you can just guarantee there's going to be some opposition.
There will be opposition, and, Nehemiah reminds the people, don't be afraid. It's going to happen. I mean, nothing good happens in life without some opposition, and sometimes we let fear paralyze us. But I also like the fact that Nehemiah says, fight.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't hear that enough. We have to fight. There's a battle. If you're in a battle right now, hey, it doesn't mean you're out of the will of God. If you're battling and fighting and it's tough right now, you may be right where God wants you to be. In fact, Wayne, I remember preaching through one of the parts of Nehemiah where Nehemiah is fighting and gets a little aggressive. And I had this guy that came to Christ. He was 300 pounds, 6'6", big guy who had come out of a severe cocaine addiction. And he came up to me afterwards. He said, I love that guy Nehemiah because he grabbed a guy by the beard and pulled it around. I love that tough prophet. And so sometimes, we have to fight for what God has called us to achieve.
Yeah, what a great story. Well, we know you'll receive encouragement today in the face of attack even. Here's Mark Jobe with some bold steps.
I heard of a lady, this is a true story, in Darlington, Maryland. Her name was Edith. She had a mother of 8. She came home one Saturday afternoon, walked into her living room, and found 5 of her youngest children huddled around in the living room. When she poked her head to see what they were huddled around, she discovered they were huddled around a bunch of skunks, little baby skunks. Well, she panicked and she said, everybody go to your room. So they all grabbed one skunk and they all took their skunks to the different rooms they were at. So things go wrong. Sometimes you think you're going to solve a problem and you make the problem even worse. Nehemiah thought things were going pretty well. He has a great job. He's assistant to the king of Persia. Things are going well. He's climbed his way up the immigrant ladder. His grandparents were slaves. He's living in Jerusalem. He's made a success out of his life. Suddenly, he gets news from Jerusalem, 800 miles away. He's never been there. He gets news that it's devastated. The walls are torn down. Something needs to be done. He gets a burden. He can't shake it. He lives with it. He fasts. He prays. He can't get rid of it for 100 days. Finally, he's got to do something about it. He goes to the king of Persia, says, I need to go back to Jerusalem. The king of Persia grants him permission. He goes back to Jerusalem, a city that's been devastated, torn down, in ruins for 141 years, and his task is to try to rebuild the wall that's around the city, to try to rebuild the infrastructure of the city, to try to revive the church that's in the city. And he gets there, inspects the walls, mobilizes the people, they all start working, and it seems like things are humming well. I mean, people are motivated. Everyone has grabbed a section of the wall. They're working on it. They're inspired. They're rah, let's do it. We can do it. And it seems like all his dreams and visions are coming to pass, that God has opened up the door one after another, after another, after another, until now. You see, if things are going well in your life and God is opening up a bunch of doors and you're trying to do something for God and rebuild something for God, that's good, but don't expect the honeymoon to last forever. Because anytime you try to make progress in life, invariably you will encounter opposition. Anything you try to do, anything you try to build, if it's for God, if it's good, if it makes sense, if it's worth pouring yourself into, you will encounter opposition one way or another. It's going to come. So don't be surprised when it's come like, God, what's happened? No, it's going to come. Remember, Pastor Mark told me it's going to come. It's going to happen. Opposition will come your way. In fact, let me tell you this. If you're leading anything, expect opposition. I've been a pastor for 21 years, I said earlier. And let me tell you, I've learned over the years, especially as I train younger pastors and leaders in ministry, I always let them know, hey, if you're going to lead, remember there will be opposition. And if you can't handle opposition, then step out right now, because you will be lambasted and bombarded, and you have to realize that's just part of leading. Everyone who steps up to lead anything is going to be opposed. There'll be times where you'll be opposed. And so you have to learn to live and understand that opposition is going to be there. So the question is, how do I move forward under attack? How do I move forward when opposition is coming my way? And that's really the question I'm answering today as we look at Nehemiah chapter 4. Because Nehemiah chapter 4 is, how do we keep going when people or opposition comes our way? Verse 1, when Sanballat heard that we were rebuilding the wall, he became angry and was greatly incensed. You need to realize that some people will not be happy at the progress you're making in life. Some people aren't going to be glad you got that job. They're going to be angry. Some people aren't going to be happy that you have 6 months of sobriety. Some people aren't going to be happy that you had that loan approved to get that house and the mortgage was approved and finally you're moving into your own place. Not everybody will be happy. Not everybody's going to rejoice that you got accepted into college and you're finally progressing. Not everybody's going to be happy when they know that you're starting your own business and the loan went through. Listen, here's the thing. Not everybody rejoices when things go well in your life. You will have people that will become angry at your prosperity, because your progress sometimes will mean that they lose influence, control, and power. And sometimes we think that everybody will be happy when things go well for us, but life isn't that way. There will be people that are self-centered, people that have a vested interest in you not prospering. Sanballat did not want Jerusalem to be rebuilt. He wanted it to be a ghetto. He wanted it to be lawless. He wanted the houses to remain torn down because he was taking advantage of the people that had little protection. He wanted the infrastructures to be broken because he had greater control. He didn't want there to be organization. He didn't want the city to be rebuilt. He liked the ghetto. He wanted it broken down. He wanted people living in boarded up houses. He wanted people to be in debt. His business thrived when other people were in chaos. He loved the way it was, and he opposed any rebuilding. And Sanballat he's the image of that person that opposes any rebuilding that God is doing. And he says he became very angry and greatly incensed, and he ridiculed the Jews. And in the presence of his associates and the army of Samaria, he said, "What are those feeble Jews doing? Will they restore the wall? Will they offer sacrifices? Will they finish in a day? Can they bring the stones back to life from the heap of rubbles, burned as they are?" Then Tobiah, his crony, the Ammonite, chimed in, who was at his side, and he said, "What are they building? If even a fox climbed on it," referring to the wall, "it would break down their walls of stone." Now here we have two men that are not lifting one single finger to help, but yet they're sitting back with their arms crossed, criticizing, using ridicule and sarcasm to discourage the people that are trying to do something about it. Oh, I wish you could hear me. Because there's always those that cross their arms. They won't lift a finger, but they watch you try to do something good. And then now they don't roll up their sleeves and say, let me help. They sit on the sidelines with their arms crossed and say, you're never going to do it. It'll never happen. The price tag is too big. You guys don't have the power, the money, the resources. You might as well pack your bags and go home because it's never going to happen. How many of you know what I'm talking about? There's always those that cross their arms, sit on the sidelines when something good is happening, but don't lift a finger to help out in that good that God is trying to do.
This is Bold Steps Weekend, and Mark Jobe was talking about your mindset and the need to safeguard that vision of what God has called you to do. More coming up in a moment. Just a quick pause, though, in the message to remind you to head over to boldsteps.org for more on our current teaching series in the book of Nehemiah. It's called Rebuild, along with other faith-building resources and opportunities, of course.
Hey, and Wayne, while they're on our website, boldsteps.org, I want to invite you to leave a message, a testimony, put a question, a prayer request. We read all of them. When I get the prayer requests in front of me, I take time to pray over each prayer request that I get as well. And so we love hearing from our listeners. And we read all of the comments, share them, celebrate in our team oftentimes some of the comments that come through as well.
Here's a letter from a listener named Sunitha. She's in India, and Mark, we know that India is really a gospel-hindered country right now. We're praising God that our message on Bold Steps has broken through. This is Sunitha's note. One of my friends sent me a Bold Step link one day, and from that day onwards, I am your regular listener. 30 years before, I was completely into Christ. I converted wholeheartedly and even wanted to become a nun, but I left God and got married to a Hindu man. I went through hardships which I cannot describe. Now I have come to my Christ. You are my teacher and I am a new person. I am learning about God, and I'm glad to have so many episodes to listen to and much more of your teaching on YouTube. Thank you, Pastor, for being my mentor and guiding me in the right path. I'm glad I am in the right direction. Isn't that precious?
Hey, Sunitha, you have a powerful testimony, a testimony of redemption. And I'm so glad that God brought you back to himself, and so glad that we're able to encourage you in your walk with God. May God give you the power on this new chapter of your life to serve him wholeheartedly.
And just like Sunitha, if you have a Bold Steps testimony to share with us, or maybe a Bible question you'd like to ask Mark, contact us today by going online to boldsteps.org or use our new app for that purpose. You can also call us and leave your message on a recorded line by dialing 312-329-2011, 312-329-2011. All right, now let's return to our message. Mark says there's a critical moment that occurs when discouragement and opposition come together. What action should we take? Let's rejoin the message now on Bold Steps Weekend with Mark Jobe.
It's the Sanballats and Tobias, and they'll always be there. You might as well just get used to it, because life is full of Sanballats and Tobias that cross their arms and ridicule what you are trying to do, the good that is coming in your life, the good that you're trying to embrace. You'll never graduate from college. Your brother dropped out too. Your mom never made it through. You might as well quit now and get a real job, make some money, because you're not smart enough to make it through. There's always the Sanballats, there's always the Tobias around us. And the Bible says that they ridiculed them, and I believe that you need to understand the whole aim of the opposition, and jot this down if you're taking notes, because this is super important. The aim of most spiritual attacks, listen to me well, is to weaken your mindset. in order to stop the progress of what God is doing. You see, most battles are not lost because we can't do it. Most battles are lost because we don't think we can do it. Most battles are not lost because we can't. Most battles are lost because the way we think. Because we become distracted or discouraged. Most sport teams, it's not just about their physical conditioning, it's about their mental state. People win or lose because of how they're thinking. People succeed in life or fail in life because of their thinking. People bail out of Christianity or grow in Christianity because of their thinking. And so if your thinking can become demoralized, if your vision can become blurred, if your faith can be squelched, if your expectation of the future can become smaller, then you have lost half the battle right there. Are you tracking with me? Because really it's your thinking. It's your thinking. And notice what happens. I love what Nehemiah does. You see, the enemy is all about stopping the progress in your life. The moment that you stop working on what God has called you to do, it's the moment the enemy has won. The moment you stop doing what God has called you to do, it's the moment the enemy has already gained a victory in your life. They were trying to stop Nehemiah and his progress. I love what Nehemiah did. Look at, in verse 4, Nehemiah prays. He doesn't go to talk to Sanballat and Tobiah. He doesn't say, well, let me argue with you because no, I think we can do it. And we have an army and we have a strategy. We have a plan. He doesn't talk to them. He ignores them. He goes to God and he says, God, see what they're saying about us? God, do you hear them? How they're trying to demoralize us? And I kind of like his prayer, in fact, too. He says, turn their insults back on their own heads. I like that prayer. Give them over as plunder in a land of captivity. Do not cover up their guilt or blot out their sins from your sight, for they have thrown insults in the face of your builders. By the way, he's not the only one that's prayed a prayer like that. Do you remember in Psalm 58 what King David says? King David says, break their teeth in their mouth. Now, doesn't sound like a nice prayer, or does it? I know some of you have prayed stuff like that before. Don't act like you haven't. I think there's a time when our prayers are, God, you need to fight for me because I don't have time to fight. I need you to be my defender. I got a job to do, and it's the job you've called me to do, God, and I'm not going to quit doing the job that you've called me to do to try to fight my critics on my opponents. So Lord, I'm calling you to stand up and defend me. You fight my job. You thwart the attacks of the enemy. You mess up their schemes. You confuse their mind. You stop the opposition, Lord. I'm asking you to fight my battles for me because I can't stop. I have a call on my life. Hello? And then verse 6 is my favorite verse in this point because he says, so we rebuilt the wall till all of it reached half of its height. Remember, the wall is about 15 feet high. So it reached about 7 or 8 feet. We rebuilt it to half its height, for the people worked with all of their heart. I like the version that says, for the people had a mind to work. You see, the enemy was trying to get them off track. He was trying to discourage them. He was trying to stop them from working on what they were supposed to be working on. But the people had a mind to work. They didn't stop to answer their critics. They didn't stop and argue about what was right or wrong. They just kept doing what God had called them to do. You to hear me well. If God's called you to rebuild your family, then do it and don't stop. If God's called you to do a ministry, then do it and don't stop. If God has called you to work on your children, then do it and don't stop. If God has called you to build a business, then do it and don't stop. Do what God has called you to do and don't get entrapped in trying to answer all your critics. If I spent time trying to answer everybody that criticized me over the years, I would not get anything done. You say, Pastor, you get criticized? Oh. Every leader does. You can't lead a church movement of several thousand people without not getting criticism. It's going to happen. And when I was a young pastor, it would demoralize me. Oh, Lord, I got to go meet with them and talk with them and try to win them to my side. And all kinds of interesting. People get mad. We're in Chicago. Hey, there's all kinds of assortment of nutcases and psychos and fruitcakes and axe to grind. And people that don't know you, they're just ready to pick a fight. Period. How about it? So where we live in. I've had people tell me, hey, Pastor, I remember, this has happened a couple times. I remember one woman telling me, hey, my husband says that if he sees you on the street, he's going to punch you. I said, well, I don't think I've ever met your husband. She said, no, you haven't. I wanted to say, could you give me a picture just, so I can duck when I see him? He's just mad. I said, well, why is he mad at me? I've never met him. She said, well, my life has changed and, I'm not going out partying with him anymore. And he's really mad at you. I wanted to give him Pastor Mike's email and said, well, I think maybe Pastor Mike's really the one. No. People get mad, threaten, curse. I'm on their blacklist. I've had photos sent back, crossed out, you antichrist. I mean, it's just part of opposition. You just need to know that anytime you lead anything, there will be opposition that will come your way.
You're listening to Bold Steps Weekend with Mark Jobe, the first part of a message titled Moving Forward Under Attack. Our spiritual health is tied directly to our physical health when it comes to the rebuilding process, and we'll pick that up next time. Remember, to find more content from Mark, just go to boldsteps.org. On our website, you can also check out our latest Bold Step gift, a book titled Unshakable Hope, written by best-selling author Max Lucado. Mark?
Wayne, one of the things I hear so often from people is this feeling that God couldn't possibly use someone like them.
Yeah.
Maybe they feel too ordinary or too flawed or too unqualified. But that idea that God only uses quote-unquote special people is actually one of the biggest lies the enemy uses to keep us stuck.
I believe that, yeah.
And I love that Max Lucado addresses this powerfully in his book, Unshakable Hope. He reminds us that if God uses someone, it's not because we were special first. It's because he made them special. Listen to how Max Lucado puts it.
One of the biggest lies of the devil is that God only uses special people. And like all lies of the devil, this one is based on a half-truth. God does use special people, yet they are special because God uses them. Listen to the words of God. You are a chosen people. You are royal priests, a holy nation, God's very own possession. As a result, you can show others the goodness of God, for he called you out of the darkness into his wonderful light. Special has everything to do with the fact that you were created as a unique individual by none other than the master of the universe, and the same God who drew rainbows across the rain-washed skies, who paints the morning sunrise and the evening sunset, the same God who scooped out the Grand Canyon with his fingers, who molded the Rocky Mountains with his hands and threw the Milky Way into the midnight sky, that same God created you. And that same God is right beside you. And that means you are somebody, and that you are fully equipped to take on the task before you. We don't base our beliefs on how we feel. We build them on the promises of God. They are unshakable.
Well, that's Max Lucado, and his book is called Unshakable Hope, and we'll send you a copy by simply giving a gift to Bold Steps today of any size. Just go to boldsteps.org/give or call us at 800-DL-MOODY. That's 800-356-6639. You can also send your gift through the mail by writing to us at Bold Steps, 820 North LaSalle Boulevard, Chicago, Illinois, 60610. Well, these daily messages and the resources we offer, like Max's book, are made possible by the generous financial gifts of listeners just like you, who choose to give on a monthly basis. We call them Bold Partners. And we're looking for more people to join the team. Come alongside us as we prepare to share the unfiltered truth of the gospel all year long. Signing up is simple and easy when you visit boldsteps.org or ask to become a Bold Partner when you call 800-DL Moody. That's 800-356-6639. And before you go, we want to remind you that you can have these messages downloaded automatically to your phone or mobile device for easy listening on the go by subscribing to the Bold Steps Weekend podcast. Just open up your podcast app and search for Bold Steps Weekend with Dr. Mark Jobe. I'm Wayne Shepherd. Hope you can join us next time. Remember, if you missed any message in this great series, Rebuild, you can listen anytime, anywhere on demand. Just visit boldsteps.org. And come back next weekend when Mark begins part 2 of our lesson about moving forward under attack. That's coming up next time on Bold Steps Weekend.
Bold Steps is a production of Moody Radio, a ministry of Moody Bible Institute.